I recently spent a weekend camping at Jordan Lake near Raleigh, North Carolina, and that gave me a chance to try out the Zeppelin inflatable kayak BOTE sent me for evaluation. My full review will be a separate video. This first time using the Zeppelin was such a great experience though that I decided to share it in a video of its own. MSRP for the Zeppelin is $1,250, so this isn't anything like the typical inflatable kayaks you'll see most places like this. The much heavier and thicker material is why the kayak requires a much larger bag for transportation. However, it's still way more portable for someone without a rack than a rigid kayak, and that's the big appeal of the Zeppelin to someone like me. I can put it in the trunk of my Tesla Model 3 with the rear seats up and still have room to pack stuff around it. Setup took me about 20 minutes because this was my first time doing it in the field, but I already have that down to about 10 minutes after just a few additional outings. This is a nice view of my lakeside campsite. The first thing I notice about the Zeppelin is how easy it is to get into. The floor is as rigid as a roto-molded kayak, and the pontoons give the Zeppelin incredible stability. The trick to entering the Zeppelin is the same as for all kayaks. Put your hand towards the middle of the seat and step towards the middle of the floor as you get in, and that will keep the listing to a minimum. The fiberglass paddle is easily adjustable for length and angle, which is why I like to keep it short when launching the kayak, then adjusting it to my preferred length as I start to paddle. I started this outing about 2 hours before sunset, right when the wind finally died down after a day of blowing up chop. It took me about 30 minutes of casual paddling to get into this peacefully isolated area of the lake.
Oh my gosh. This is absolutely beautiful. Look how calm the water is. It has been blowing hard all day. A cold front came through and it really had this all choppy. So I waited and about 4 o'clock it just shut off. It's about 10 till 5 right now. Sun is going down. I have this section of Jordan Lake all to myself. There's nobody else out here. The whole paddle out, I was watching various kinds of birds, big and small, fishing all around me. Some are falcons of some kind, I guess, would dive down and snag the fish and fly away. Some were like herons, they were waders while they were fishing. And then we have loons that swim along the surface and then dive down to get their meals. Oh, and then there's a duck quacking away. I couldn't have this experience without an inflatable kayak. That's the magic of these things. That's where the value is in spending the money for something like this. You know, I've got a cheap Intex. I've done a video on it, and I think that thing is worth the $150 you generally have to spend to get it. But it's not anywhere near as easy to paddle as this thing. The biggest thing is this, I could paddle all day and it doesn't kill my back. It's a combination of the seat itself and this being completely rigid. Paddling something like the Intex, it's about like you're paddling a banana. Because no matter how rigid you make it, you're still limited by the fact that it's just kind of a tougher version of inflatable bed material. And you can't put too much pressure into it or it's just going to split. This is 15 psi in very rigid material. It makes this very efficient to paddle. It makes a very firm place to put the seat And then the seat itself is super supportive. It goes all the way up through my mid-back, and it's very adjustable for the angle of recline. Plus, you can play around with the pressure. I like it all the way firm. I've got it all the way up to max pressure, which I think is 7 psi. I can't remember. And it has a layer of neoprene padding glued onto the face of it where you sit and where you lean your back. And that's all I need. I've already been paddling for about 40 minutes. Ignore what it says on my watch if you see it going by, because I forgot to start my timer. And I'm going to have no problems paddling back and being completely pain-free in my lower back, which is worth the price by itself. Oh my gosh. I get it. The price of these things, that's a lot of money for a lot of people. But if something like this is in your budget, you're going to get the value out of it. It's going to get you experiences that will stick with you. This paddle alone, this one paddle alone is going to stick with me for weeks. And I'm probably going to be able to get out here a couple more times before I have to pack up and leave. Ooh, biting fly. This is also prime fishing, but even though there are rod holders and things like that, and this you can easily set up as a fishing platform, I just want to be out here and paddle. I don't even want to worry. I don't want the hassle of catching a fish. The seating position of this is much higher than a roto-molded kayak or a lot of inflatable kayaks. It's more like they started with an inflatable paddle board, put pontoons around it, and put a seat in it. It might be exactly what they did, in fact, but it works. And it doesn't feel tippy at all. In fact, I actually really like being up this high. It's almost like being in an SUV on the road. It gives me better view into the water for looking for stumps or shallow areas than if I were lower. It allows me to get a better dig. I can reach over the pontoons, and I have very little chance that I'm going to be dragging my knuckles across the pontoons that can happen with other inflatable kayaks. Man, this is another one of those products that has become an instant favorite for me. I absolutely love this thing. How can you not love something that gets you out in a place like this? The composite paddle has a really neat adjustment system. It's just a clamp and allows you have infinite adjustment, and then you can actually adjust it whatever angle you want. It's also infinitely adjustable in angle, and you just flip that over. You don't even have to use a lot of force to close it, and that's locked in place. This handle actually has a knurl to it, and then this is the grip that you would twist. You relax your hand grip like this. That's the way I paddle. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, there's fish rising all in here, and one was flipping. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I wish I had a fly rod right now. Actually, shut my mouth about not wanting to catch a fish. Oh my gosh, they are rising all over the place. Wow. This is not just a great fishing platform. I absolutely could sit in this seat and cast a fly rod. That's a big deal. Ah, man, they're jumping all over the place. I'm wearing my Insta360 X2 on a chest mount because even though they have mounts on the front and back for cameras, I couldn't get anything that would work with it in time for getting out on this trip. I'll certainly have something figured out for my next trip. Oh my gosh. This is why I love living in Raleigh, North Carolina. I know this video has nothing to do with that, but I am evangelical about where I live because I am a half hour from my house, which is 11 minutes from our airport, 8 minutes from where the Carolina Hurricanes play. I'm a season ticket member to our hockey team. Surrounded by great hospitals, great schools. I actually live across the street from a 5,600 acre state park. It's what you see me ride e-bikes through in those e-bike reviews. And then I can come out here and still be close enough to home that if I have to run an errand, get back home, I can do that. Oh my gosh, I love my life. Can you believe it? What I'm doing right now, this is my job. This is what I do for a living. Oh, I love it. Yeah, so it's also easy to paddle this pretty quickly when you want to make some time, which I do. I kind of lingered out at the far end of the lake from where I'm camping as long as I could, knowing that I'm just going to haul on the way back home. I did my sightseeing, and this is pretty easy to paddle quickly, get some speed going. Guess he's got a power boat, so he thinks he's got the right of way.
If you're interested in getting the Zeppelin or any boat product for yourself, please use the link in the video description to place your order. It supports the channel when you do. Be sure to subscribe for more outdoor videos like this one. I really appreciate you watching The Tech of Tech, and I hope to see you next time.